Welcome to the news at 7. I am David Obopasile. The headlines this morning: Anambra state government refutes rumors of planned Okada ban in Nnewi. Stakeholders urge Anambra residents to step up their voting power on March 9. INEC chairman Professor Yakubu meets resident electoral commissioners ready for March 9 elections. 4 Ebola patients in Congo escaped from clinic after an attack on the hospital. The Anambra state government has stated it is not planning to restrict the operations of commercial motorcycles in Nnewi. This was stated in Awka by the Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Mr. C. Don Adenoba, describing the rumor as politically motivated. The Commissioner stated that the state government has always made it clear that Nnewi town would not be affected when the restriction order on the use of commercial motorcycles in Onitsha, the state commercial capital, and Awka, the administrative capital, was made in the middle of last year. Mr. Adenoba revealed that the rumors of the ban were started by a couple of politically exposed persons participating in the ongoing general elections in the country. He advised politicians to always tell their followers the truth rather than mislead them with all manner of propaganda. The Commissioner noted that only societies which treat facts as sacred develop rapidly, while those who run on false propaganda experience tremendous development challenges. He explained that Anambra State has experienced unprecedented development in the last 4 years because of the government's commitment to the truth and issues which benefit the people generally. Mr. Adenoba remarked that the state government recognizes that motorcycle business has a special place in Nnewi's astronomical development in the last few decades. Open defecation has been identified as a major cause of disease spread amongst people. The Water Sanitation Hygiene Watch Specialist of the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF Enugu, Mr. Ferdinand Njue, said this during a 2-day workshop on institutional triggering and sensitization meeting for stakeholders in Anambra East, held at the local government headquarters, Otuocha. Correspondent Blessing Uchendo was at the venue of the event and now reports.
The workshop, which was organized by European Union and UNICEF in collaboration with Anambra State Rural Water and Sanitation Agency, RWASA, had in attendance traditional rulers, presidents general, environmental health officers, representatives of various WASH communities in Anambra East, state UNICEF consultants, among other stakeholders. Addressing the participants, the WASH specialist, Mr. Njue, who was represented by the zonal WASH consultant, Mr. Toyin Adisa, called on the participants to promote good health by maintaining a clean and healthy environment.
This is running into water, especially streams, shallow wells, and what have you. If you have toilet, definitely remove the surface. And then, if you are constructing toilet at the same time, toilet should be 30 meters away from our water sources.
On her part, the senior special assistant to the governor on donor agencies, Mrs. Mary Ogugwa, added that the workshop will help the community ascertain factors militating against implementation of ODF, take necessary actions toward solving the problems for improved and general health welfare of the people.
It's a very, very good, initiation, and a very, very good, it was a welcome development. I feel with this triggering coming in and involving the Igwes, involving stakeholders, the PGs, and all those that are concerned, involving them, I know it's going to come out well. It will be a fruitful effort.
In their separate remarks, the Transition Committee Chairman, Anambra East Council Area, Honorable Pius Ifadi, and the Permanent Secretary, Public Utilities, Mr. Douglas Mba, maintained that all the communities must join in the fight to ensure that the area is open defecation-free. The State Sanitation Officer, RWASA, Mrs. Oluchiwankwo, said that the objective of the workshop was to bring the hygiene awareness to the doorsteps of the communities, and said that UNICEF had already taken the sensitization to schools, with plans already on to take the message to motor parks, markets, and other cluster points.
But now we want to reach out to the both private institutions and public secondary institutions. Also reach out to the markets, the parks, and the other public places towards driving the force to attainment of LGA-wide ODF.
The watch coordinator, Anambra East, Mrs. Helen Ofo, listed some of the challenges towards achieving total ODF to include lack of support, difficulty in construction of toilets, and lack of hygiene promotion materials. The traditional ruler of Aguleri Otu, Igwe Alex Edoziuno, and his Nando counterpart, Igwe John Iwuno, promised to take the message to their various communities and ensure that every household adhere to the message. From Anambra East Headquarters, Otuocha, Blessing Uchendo, ABS News.
The new staff of Anambra Broadcasting Service, OKA, have been formally inducted into the establishment. Correspondent Kenechukwu Chukwode was at the ceremony and now tells us more.
For the orientation program, which the primary aim was to get them informed on the workings of the civil service, the rules and regulation, and what is expected of them. In a lecture, a resource person, Mr. Adebayo Adeyinka, who took participants on topics centered on basic ethics, performance evaluation, and creative thinking, urged the newly recruited staff to always be subject to the rules and regulations guiding the service, which failure to do so have appropriate sanctions to ensure standards and order in the service.
Very carefully so that you'll be able to get as much as you need. Introduction: it is required of public servants in the performance of their official duties to strictly adhere to a set of detailed standards known as the Civil Service Code of Ethics. The Civil Service Code of Ethics. The code is likely expected to standardize the character of the service as well as to reinforce optimal service delivery.
The head of administration, ABS, Mrs. Tina Ekenta, and the director of news and current affairs of ABS, Mr. Gabe Okpaleze, in their goodwill messages, noted that the orientation was important for the staff to know the workings of the civil service as expected leaders who will take over in years to come, and also to be acquainted with the rules and regulations of service for optimum performance in public service.
Most of them came out from school direct. You understand? They don't even know the ethics of broadcasting, so they mix things up. My advice is just something that is so straight, for them to imbibe the spirit of that teaching. Once they imbibe from what is being taught them, the sky will be their limit. And once you be in that aspect, no query, nothing will go inside your file that will defile your file, and you will be moving.
When you are employed in the Anambra State Broadcasting Service, what it means is that apart from the rules guiding the ABS, you must also succumb to the public service rules of Anambra State. And there's no other office that has those rules at the tip of their fingers other than the office of the head of service from where the director came. So, once again, listen to help yourself. Listen and listen very, very attentively, because when you fall afoul of any of the rules, you will not have any other person to blame except yourself.
Some of those inducted, Ms. Oluchikalu, a presenter, and Mr. Chibuzo Okoye, a reporter, noted that the program was enlightening as some of the regulations and rules they could not fathom the reason was better explained to their understanding, which will help them perform optimally in service. From the Anambra Broadcasting Headquarters in Oka, it's been Kenechukwu Chukwudi for EBS News.
And still from the headquarters of the Anambra Broadcasting Service, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the ABS, Chief Uche Nwora, has commended the members of the ABS Election Situation Room for adequately covering and airing of the February 23 presidential and National Assembly elections in the state. Chief Nwora made the commendation during a meeting with members of the Election Situation Room of the ABS at the corporate headquarters Oka to review the coverage and make adequate plans for the March 9 State Assembly elections. Correspondent Ngozi Obleri was at the meeting and now reports.
Both staff in Onitsha and Oka stations of the establishment were present at the meeting. Addressing the staff, Chief Nwora appreciated them for their doggedness in informing in Anambra and beyond with the events as they happen, describing it as true journalism. He said that they should remain on top to maintain their position as the leading broadcast station in Southeast.
And please, let us keep this spirit, and that's what we want to see again next week Saturday. So I want to appreciate everybody for all the support. I think everybody did well, so let's now improve on what we've done. Broadcasting has gone now in this digital age. That you're able to bring it on radio and bring it on TV, that's half of the work done. If it has not gone online, you've not done any work. I'm telling you. Because even some of your local audience don't even watch TV or listen to radio. Everything now is on your laptop. Yeah.
Speaking, the Director News and Current Affairs Department, ABS, Mr. Gabe Obaleze, called for more analysis while covering the governorship and State House of Assembly elections come 9th March 2019 to get the people well informed.
Coming for the first time, this analysis will be good for people. So that they know what they're expecting. Yeah.
Earlier, the coordinator ABS Situation Room and the head of Information Communication Technology ABS, Ms. Ugochukwu Afekelo, while congratulating all the members of the Situation Room for a job well done, pointed out corrections where necessary and said improvement will be made on some areas where they experienced shortfalls.
To smoothen it, what we have devised now is the use of headphone. The use of headphone. But what we will test maybe later today is whether the microphone that accompanies the headphone is it laudable enough to be heard in the studio. So that you will talk as if you have your lapel and your earpiece. When the studio speaks to you, your earpiece brings the information directly to you. So you'll be able to communicate with them.
Some members of the election situation room, including David Okpokwasile, Franka Ononuju, Godwin Unigwe, among others, also pointed out some areas where improvements are needed. In Oka, I am Ngozi Obileri for ABS News.
Electorate in Anambra State have been urged to come out en masse to exercise their franchise on the March 9 House of Assembly elections in the state. The Anambra State Treasurer of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Mr. Anthony Nwakile, who made the call while speaking to the press at the party secretariat in Oka, reminded them of the need to preserve their permanent voter cards for the task ahead. Mr. Nwakile appealed to them to vote for the All Progressives Grand Alliance, vying for elected positions in the coming election to consolidate the development and enthronement of the Governor Willie Obiano administration. According to the party's treasurer, Governor Obiano has recorded tremendous achievements as a governor and needs legislators who will assist him in the development efforts. Also, the chairman of Anambra State Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board, Professor Stevie Benta, commended the high sense of maturity demonstrated by the Anambra electorate during the just concluded presidential election. Professor Benta urged the Anambra electorate to also exercise their franchise to vote massively for All Progressives Grand Alliance come Saturday, March 9, 2019. All right, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, has met with resident electoral commissioners at its headquarters in Abuja to review the February 23 presidential and National Assembly elections. According to the information released through the commission's verified Twitter handle at INEC Nigeria, the RECs shared their experiences, the challenges encountered, and the lessons learned. The meeting also has on the agenda discussions on the preparation for the governorship, State House of Assembly, and FCT elections coming up on March 9, 2019. Yakubu, during his brief speech at the opening ceremony held at the conference hall of the Commission in Abuja, announced that governorship and House of Assembly elections will be held on March 9, 2019 in 29 states, having conducted staggered elections in 7 states of the country. According to him, elections will also be held at the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, into chairmanship and councillorship slots of the 6 area councils in Abuja. The gross revenue that accrued into the Federation account dropped by 42.21 billion naira from 547.46 billion naira recorded in December last year to 505.24 billion naira in January. This was disclosed shortly after the end of Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting held at the headquarters of the Ministry of Finance in Abuja. The meeting was attended by commissioners of finance of the 36 states of the Federation and representatives of revenue-generating agencies. Addressing journalists shortly after the meeting, the Accountant General of the Federation, Alhaji Ahmed Idris, said that despite the revenue decline, the committee was also able to allocate the sum of 610.36 billion naira to the 3 tiers of government. He said that additional approval of 50 billion naira have been withdrawn from the foreign exchange equalization account for distribution was being awaited by the committee. The approval, which is expected to be given by the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, would bring the total amount to be received during the period to 660.36 billion naira. And on the foreign scene, 4 patients with Ebola escaped after a Doctors Without Borders clinic in eastern Congo was attacked by unknown assailants, the Ministry of Health have said. The ministry confirmed that 4 patients confirmed to have the deadly virus fled during the attack, including others who are still suspects of carrying the virus. The ministry said that the attack was the second on a health clinic within a few days as aid agencies and government battle to contain the virus in an area rife with militia groups and public distrust. So far, 553 people have died of Ebola in the outbreak in eastern Congo, which began shortly after the country's government in June declared an end to another outbreak in the west of the country. Authorities and aid groups have been struggling to do their jobs in the dangerous eastern region where numerous militia operate, most fighting over the Central African country's rich natural resources. According to the Health Ministry, over 84,000 people have been vaccinated against the virus since August. Ebola is a highly infectious disease that causes a fever and often leads to massive internal bleeding and death. And on sports this morning, Australia's Nick Kyrgios survived 3 match points to beat top-seeded Rafael Nadal 3-6, 7-6, 7-6 to reach the quarterfinals of the Mexico Open. It was a bravura finish to a drama-filled match in which Nadal, playing his first tournament since falling to Novak Djokovic in the Australian Open final, had 3 chances to close it out after taking a 6-3 lead in the third set tiebreaker. KYRGIOS saved the first with a leaping drop shot and the second with a net-skimming volley. Nadal was just wide with a passing shot to make it 6-6, double faulted to give KYRGIOS a chance and sailed a backhand long to end the match after 3 hours and 3 minutes. KYRGIOS screamed and dropped to the court in celebration, a conclusion that seemed unlikely when he complained to a trainer after the opening set that he was feeling ill but feared the fallout should he retire. Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website, www.absradiotv.com. You can like us at Facebook at www.facebook.com/ABSRadioTelevision, or you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. Now the main points again. Anambra state government has refuted rumors of planned Okada ban in Nnewi. Stakeholders are urging Anambra residents to step up their voting power on March 9. INEC Chairman Professor Yakubu has met resident electoral commissioners prepared for March 9 elections. 4 Ebola patients in Congo have escaped from their clinic after attack on the hospital. And that is the news at this hour. I am David Okpokwasele. Good morning. Anambra continues right after now.